All right, part two. Let's proceed forward.
The fun one today was himself. So
before you go into that, Jason, what is the name of the judge?
Her name is Judge Andrea Chin. Court 1003, so 1003, the Seattle Municipal Court. We have information to contact the city administrator to be able to reach the presiding judge about what is being done in this courtroom. We know we've had several people write to at least the city administrator. I think we have the assistant city administrator, and whether they're making contact with the presiding judge, we don't know. We also know that his judge is the assistant presiding judge.
So Lisa Mannion is the King County prosecuting attorney. She's an elected official.
Okay.
I've been trying to reach her, but please, I don't know if in the comments eventually you'll get to the outcome of today because I'm waiting. Like, is it over?
It's not over. It's not over, and that's an interesting story in itself. Yeah.
Okay, good. I'm reassured about that.
Yeah.
But I really do, because I've been contacting people every day, and I really want more people to rabble rouse with and say, hey, this is unacceptable. So so we got to get
if we know people in Seattle, getting into the courtroom tomorrow would be, I do believe it's going to wrap up probably by noon.
Okay, so half a day.
So if you got a half day to come in on a Friday morning to just be support in the courtroom, I think that'd be super helpful.
Okay.
So anything,
what is the King County Courthouse? What courtroom?
Yep, it's room 1003, and it's on the corner of James and 6th, the northeast corner. Easy to get to by light rail. It's 2 blocks up from Pioneer Station.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Anastasia, did you witness anything crazy today or recently or?
No.
Every day is crazy. Oh, Anastasia, yeah, go for it.
Yeah, no. I met Kurt in 2020. He was a real inspiration to me about his convictions about no mask and just challenging an unjust law. Particularly just kind of a man who's standing up to his bullies.
Mm-hmm.
I've been supporting him in different ways, helping with, I helped him serve the city of Seattle.
There you go.
And boy, that courthouse has a lot of creepy art. Like, this city is really corrupt and creepy, I'll tell you. But yeah, I am in Denver, so I'm not able, it's just breaking my heart. I'm not able to go to stand up for him. But I've been waiting to hear and just really wanting to support. So grateful for everybody who is supporting him, who is getting to be there. And I'm reaching out to friends. I'd written an article about him, Seattle Superhero #1. And I started it before he was arrested. And then he said, I don't have time to finish an article about my heroism. I've got to work on my court cases.
Yeah.
And
have you submitted it as an editorial to any of the Seattle papers?
No, but that's actually a great idea. That's a great idea. I will do that because I did finish it after he's in jail. I was like, oh my gosh, sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
There's kind of a beat reporter named Jonathan Cho especially through what I call Twitter.
Okay.
And I've reached out to him. He had seen like our original flyer that we put out, and then I haven't seen any response to that. But keep pushing him too. So Jonathan Cho, yeah.
Cho?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, that's great.
So y'all would recommend we call the city manager and the city prosecutor, or?
Yeah, the Seattle City Courthouse administrator.
Courthouse administrator.
Is that Josh Sattler?
Yes, that's it right there.
Yeah, and it's a long hold, but worth it. Yeah.
Yeah,
gotcha.
And you don't happen to have an email with you. I don't have that with me.
I have. Let me get that. So I'll get that.
Yeah, well, y'all just gather up what y'all want to put, and I'll pin it in the first comment under this thing, and then you'll have everything, emails and anything y'all want to put out about it. We'll put it in the first comment, and we'll just pin it there.
Beautiful. Yeah, I've got it.
So what else? How did the day end, Jason?
Okay, so I think we're only through morning.
Oh, okay,
yeah. So he was going to cross-examine himself.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So
that's allowed
this is where Kurt is. What's that? Sorry.
It's supposed to be allowed if you're representing yourself.
Kurt is a genius. It was hilarious, and I don't know anybody that could do what he did today. He worked out a deal with the judge where he would recognize himself as witness by saying answer before every answer that he gave, and then he would kind of identify going back to himself as attorney, defense attorney, as just saying Mr. Benshoof, and he was pretty consistent about the Mr. Benshoof, but he was very consistent about using the word answer. So considering how fast he was moving and what he was saying, it was fairly easy to follow. And okay, so I think I'm gonna kind of call this the main thing that he wanted to put into the record. I would like to say evidence, but the judge is also limited in what he can have as evidence.
Of
And
course.
so he was, So he was able to enter what he wanted to use for himself as, as evidence. He was able to enter them as exhibits, and then reference them in terms of his direct examination. And what they were documents that he had handed to Officer Hughes, and there's video that was used in the case against him. And he handed Officer Hughes a packet of what looked to be like 3 or 4 documents separated by paper clips, and on the top one it says something about a tort.
About what?
And so, a tort.
A tort.
Yeah, how someone's hurt. And he handed this whole stack of documents. This is when the 2 officers are responding to a complaint about I don't know how to phrase this, violation of a restraining order. And so they're dispatched then from where they got 911 and have their cameras on, and then dispatched to his house to go and find, I don't remember at this point if they were clear that his son was at his home. That son had gone there voluntarily. So there's never any instances of this son is wanting to, it's clear through a lot of the evidence presented, the son wants to be with Kurt. And so in
that's very obvious.
So the son is voluntarily going over to his house. He's there. He's worried about his dad getting in trouble. But then the officers are dispatched to his house, and they go and knock on the door. And I will say, I consider Officer Hughes to be very articulate. He was very eloquent in how he presented himself and responding to Kurt. Kurt was very good at interviewing him or examining him. And he was presented on the porch in this video, these documents, and he's like, "What are these?" And they didn't care. He and Officer Wallace did not care about receiving these documents from Kurt. But Kurt is presented in court that the documents that he presented were very important to what they were able to do. Yet they blew them off. They actually, I recall, returned them to him at the door, didn't give them any credence whatsoever. And so Kurt is now bringing up, he's like with Officer Hughes yesterday in cross witness, and now his direct examination of himself. He's bringing in the details of what these documents that are legal documents supporting his position in what has transpired of this whole thing, that this was an important step, that in the training in Officer Hughes and Officer Wallace's training, they should have known to look, actually respond to the documents too, not just believe one side and go in and say we're concerned about this child and we need to take the child out of your,
Right.
off the premises, out of your area. These documents are important. So these are super important to Kurt's case. So the first thing he starts off with today, directly examining himself, was these documents, and they were, I remember extortion was one of them. I don't remember what the others were, but he was going into detail with these things, and just the back and forth of asking himself questions about these documents I can't even recite it right now what he did or recall it exactly what he did, but it was just amazing to watch him.
Now, did they let him get out of the convict clothes, or they?
No, he's still in the red. Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
In front of the jury.
Yep.
Nice. And so they picked the jury without him. They picked the jury without him. They started the trial without him. They won't let him bring his own witnesses, all 35 of them.
I'm gonna say they did not start the trial without him. Just to be kind of specific about this.
Yeah, please be.
But there was. What's that?
But please be
specific.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, for me?
Yeah. Please be specific.
Okay. So I'm trying to recall exactly. To me, the way I understood this trial was they had the whole thing. I expected to go in for 45 minutes to 2 hours, based on what he had said on Friday. So he had a hearing, and to me, the hearing would have been to go through a lot of stuff that would be related to a trial, and setting it up, and talking about witnesses and organizational stuff like that. Well, they had it all set up on the other side. This was all about ramrodding this hearing, ramrodding everything, and moving straight into the trial within hours. So I actually can't tell you the difference between when they ended the hearing and when they started the trial. I do know that it was probably 2:00 in the afternoon at that point where they were doing the jury selection, and so if you call transitioning from the hearing to the trial before jury selection, there's some trial in there that he was. Oh, this is crazy. Oh, okay, so I've coined a new term. It's called digital muzzling. And there's also now going to be attempted digital muzzling. And what these terms are is they tried to take Kurt out of the classroom, out of the courtroom, put him in the adjacent room with the marshal, put a screen that they connected to WebEx in front of him, force him to listen to what was said in the court, not being able to respond, not have his visual on, but have visual of the courtroom. So he essentially, it's a one-sided, their version of a one-sided way to say that he was in court when in fact he was being digitally muzzled. And so
that's like going on Zoom.
And I want to stop right there as well, right? And they do this to easily mute for things that they don't want the public to hear. So this technology is actually really bad to be used in court. And like you said, it's a Muslim. So if he starts saying something the courts don't want people to hear, which trial by a jury, they're supposed to hear the whole thing anyway. They're supposed to judge the facts and the law. Well, if you leave anything out, then how can the jury judge the facts and the law?
And they just mute your microphone.
Yep, and visual too. Yeah. So he had no say whatsoever.
Now, when you watch, have you been in any proceedings with the jury?
Oh yeah.
Have you watched the jury, or how are they reacting?
Yeah. So let's get back to digital muzzling later. But I'm talking about the jury to break it up a little bit. From what I could tell, I wasn't involved with the jury selection either. So knowing exactly how they selected the jury, but reading them, they come across to me as people that are attentive. No one's sleeping. No one's doing anything erratic. They're kind of paying attention. We had one period of time. Kurt was not present for most of this. I'm trying to remember if he was present for some of it. The assistant city attorney spent hours going over 470 plus pages of Discord exchange.
Yeah.
It was hours. It was so dull. And, they're trying to get this entered into the record by, date and page and whatever. And it was just crazy. So they're using this Discord to scheduling and in exchange to charge him with 80, that one's probably about 79 counts of whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, violation of restraining order and no contact, I think, are the two big ones. Anyway,
in just in case you guys missed it, let's mute that. Why? Commercials on. Allegedly. Lost train of thought there for a second. When they put a restriction for his kid to be him to go see him, right? Well, where is he supposed to go if the kid was going to his house, right? So usually if it's going on with one person, it's supposed to be going on with both. So who is the true one that actually violated that? He was at home. So how did he violate it when he's at home himself? It's a question to ask.
So they spent then what else? Oh, so today they spent another 55 minutes going over each of these counts, having to talk about the elements and what elements had to be proved to the jury, and then say every single one of them. The judge had to read every single one of these, and it was like, ooh, this is bad. So he's at least entertaining. Kurt is very funny.
Yeah.
One of my favorite phrases was from his opening statement. He called this as kind of Jerry Springer.
So
and then
there could be a possible hope of the jury saving him.
I do believe so, but I think it depends on how willing they are to stick to exactly what the court's telling them to do. If they stick directly to what the court's telling them to do, probably not too good, because he hasn't been able to submit any evidence or do anything to defend himself.
But the jury's watching us some of this, right?
Yes. So if the jury is like, what I would do is I would say, this was not a fair trial. There's no way I'm going to identify him as guilty. No matter what you told me to follow, I would not identify him as guilty.
In good conscience.
Way.
Mm-hmm.
Right, yeah.
I do believe there is a chance of at least one.
And this would be the time for jury notification, right? But, again, where's facts and law?
There might be more that would do that.
Is it 12? Is there 12 on the jury?
There are 7 now. She's going to randomly dismiss one of them, I believe, probably after closing statement tomorrow. Yeah.
I don't think the city of Seattle does anything randomly.
Good point.
Yeah.
So,
tell us. Yeah.
There have been exchanges. We get a little time to banter with him, and he was bantering, I think, with another one of his friends from this other that I didn't know real well before now. Yeah. And there's another judge there that he's supposed to have for I don't know which level of court. He's had this judge 8 times. Yeah. I don't know how many there are, but it sounded to me like this is not random. He keeps getting the same judge that is.
I see what you're saying. So this is a piece I wanted to just see. So are the jury aware? Has it been said, this whole bigger picture, that Kurt is suing the city of Seattle, and by ramrodding him in and putting him away or silencing him digitally or otherwise, they're actually defending themselves from his federal lawsuit against them?
That's right.
Preemptively. Like, has that been said? Is that in the courtroom? Because to me, that is the elephant in the room here.
Yeah. So what
I would suggest.
So for the audience out there, Kurt has pretty much he went through. They got this small minor charge, and then they built and now each judge violated rights and violated procedure and So he ended up suing them, and then he got the federal courts and judge involved, and now he's suing some of the federal judges, and we're up into the 9th Circuit now. And so the city of Seattle, as a whole, has blood on their hands, pending Kurt's fate. And so they all have a vested interest in seeing this man incarcerated.
Put away.
Yeah, put away, because otherwise.
And we're gonna go as far as saying Epstein.
Okay.
Can you say why you're bringing that in?
Yeah, because he has had himself put in solitary confinement to protect himself because he's been threatened in jail.
Oh, so they might kill him in jail in
Mhm,
order to
mhm.
keep him quiet.
And another person I know that's had people that she knows in jail, she said people die in jail all the time. It's like, so what? No one cares. They would never know, And so this is something that I think happens fairly regularly. I wasn't aware of it, but that is certainly he is protecting himself by putting himself in solitary confinement.
Smart guy. And that, so let it be known for the public record that I would consider that a murder. Like the city murdered him.
Yes,
Right.
Like
yes.
that would be the smoking gun here.
Yes.
And every single person who's involved in this in a corrupt way would be accountable for that.
I believe so. Absolutely. So he has. I'm not going to call it threatened. He's told the judge he's going to sue her.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be the one to serve her is a complaint. I'm going to do it, look her in the eye, and say, "Here you go."
Yeah.
Here you go.
Let's plan.
I don't.
You
Don't
know the
even
judge doesn't
hesitate
want
to
to be
do
there.
that.
She doesn't want to do this, but it falls to her because every other one has been involved in so much else with Kurt that it has to be her. And they give her the script and tell her go up there, and that's why she wants to rush through these things because she doesn't want to. We don't want to hear that. We don't want to hear it.
Well, and they also don't want people to rally on Kurt's behalf.
Right?
Yeah.
And the fact
No,
that he's got people in the courtroom,
I think that the whole effort right now, the number of people that have come behind him, I think part of rushing this through was to prevent this from happening.
Mm-hmm.
And so I do think that as much as we can write, as much as people can show up to court, especially tomorrow morning's going to be key. And so I think just showing support, whether he's call it convicted by the jury, found guilty by the jury, or whatever you want to call it, or hopefully released of all this. That would be something to cheer about. I'm going to put it as odds are not good for him right now, but analysis so far of other people that are helping him are that odds are better for him to take this on an appeal, and both he and the judge have been talking that this is going to go to appeal.
Yeah, these criminals are stupid. These criminals are really stupid because there is way more people watching than they understand. And it doesn't take a whole bunch. It doesn't take a whole bunch to witness a crime. And a lot of us over here are capable of doing what Kurt has done to them. And when they start violating our rights, which is what they've done,
yes.
The only benefit they may have is that all of us are pretty busy with our own cases. But other than that, give us a reason.
Yeah.
Well, and this
Absolutely.
is a crime. It's a crime against not just Kurt Benschoof. It's a crime against the city. The good city of Seattle. All the citizens in King County.
And let's say they pick the jury from, let's say, the general political pool. Let's say this is now a political tool, which I do believe it is. They pick the citizens from kind of a random pool of, let's say, they're Democrat, right? In general. I would hope that these people sitting on the jury are like